Hello, welcome to Science Thursdays. First Thursday of every month, I want to talk about a scientific thing. Today, I'll be talking about the Fermi paradox. It's not exactly a paradox when it gets down to the definition of paradoxes, but that's just what it's called, so that's what I'll call it. And one of these days, I'm going to have to talk about about Enrico Fermi. His work and his discoveries is pretty much he's one of the founding fathers of nuclear physics, so yeah, he's worth talking about someday. And what I'm going to talk about today is one day he was having lunch with some colleagues, and he came up with the question, where are all the aliens at? Yeah, this question may be more philosophical than scientific. You know, with the recent Star Wars movies and the Mass Effect games coming up and the reviews I want to do on Mass Effect, it is kind of an odd thought of where are all the aliens?
You do know that is science fiction, right?
True, but the Kepler space satellite has discovered over 2,000 planets, directly discovered 2,000 planets, and another 2,600 planets possible from its detection. From the way it detects planets, it's another 2,600 possible planets. And with looking at how little we look and how many stars there are in the galaxy, there could be well over 100 billion planets just in this galaxy. And there are trillions of galaxies out there. And if I understand right, the Milky Way galaxy is a fairly common galaxy, fairly big, but fairly common if I understand right. So there are literally trillions of billions of planets where life can evolve on.
Just because there are planets doesn't mean there has to be life on them.
Well, true, but the idea most people work with is that the solar system is a fairly common place, and life did evolve on one of the 8 or 9 planets that are here. There may be possibilities of life evolving on the moons of the gas giants.
That is not confirmed.
Well, yeah, but we do know for sure that intelligent life has evolved at least once on one planet in this solar system.
Are we sure about the intelligent part?
Well, considering that's one of the more bleaker explanations of what happened to the aliens, you know, one of the explanations of why there's not any alien life out there is that any civilization advanced enough to reach out to the stars would eventually just blow themselves up.
Every single one?
Well, that's the idea, but I have a hard time believing that with billions of trillions of planets, that every single civilization that ever existed wiped itself out. Sure, a good chunk of them probably did, but every single one of them? That's kind of hard to believe. And since we survived our Mexican standoff, it's a pretty good bet that someone else had too. And that leads to one of the explanations that I kind of prefer. It's just that the fact of our civilization is just so young when it compared to the universe. It's just possible that we're just not operating on the same level as the higher civilizations in the universe. I mean, we only discovered radio waves about 150 years ago, and that's 150 years ago compared to the 10,000 years that humans have been around. Yeah, we've made some serious progress in the last 100 years or so, but if you compare it to the age of the universe, this is just barely a glimmer of a glimmer that humans have just been around.
It does take a while for life to evolve.
Well, yeah, if you look at the relatively recent evolution of humans and looking at all of the fascinating creatures that came before us, it's really just happenstance that we're the first ones on our planet that evolved technology. There's no reason that nobody else in the universe could. And I would think it would be incredibly sad if humans were the highest form of intelligent life. I really just wanted to say that there has to be something out there. I just don't think we're operating on their level.
Are you talking about some higher dimension conspiracy stuff?
Well, not really, because if you're trying to use one of these to talk to one of these, I don't think you're going to get very far.
I think they could figure out Morse code.
Yeah, that's not the point. The point is that humans have not been around for very long. We are a very, very young species, and we've just been around for a very like a fraction of a fraction, etc., of the universe, and we're sitting here on a speck of a speck of a speck of the etc. of the universe. I just think it's inconceivable that it happened here but nowhere else. Yeah, I just think it's kind of hard to think that if you put your side up your pride for a moment and think, yeah, we're just slightly above average apes trying to figure out what this lightning stuff is. We just recently figured out what lightning is, and we barely understand what stuff is, as in like the building blocks of the universe. Yeah, we can. When you look out the window, there's only 5% of the universe is visible to us as we understand it. So, yeah, if you think about it, we're just barely above a chimpanzee to get using a stick to get termites out of a hole. So, yeah, to think that, hey, I don't see any aliens because I don't see them with my eyes, it's kind of short-sighted, I would believe.
There is the real possibility that there is just nobody out there.
And that is a possibility.